conference in February. He probably doesn't know I was in the audience. And so he's been doing these boot camps on Asian-based modeling and system science. And I know every one of us here is interested in that at some level. I think the challenge, for Nathaniel has been that I've told him we're all at very different levels, from one extreme to the other extreme, and he's taken up the challenge. So I'm going to let him tell you, he's got a great program planned for us, so to try to meet all of our different needs. So we really appreciate that. And then Nathaniel's brought two of his TAs to help us, Kurt and Mitchell. You guys just want to show yourselves? Yeah. So they'll be helping us too. And then just a couple of housekeeping things before I hand it over to Nathaniel, and that's no food is allowed, unfortunately, in this computer lab. So we will have breaks. We brought water for today. If you'd like to bring your own water bottles in future, that'd be fine. Just, I think we're not supposed to, I know we're not supposed to eat and drink in this computer lab. I think if you spill anything, the computers get shot and all that. So please don't drink have drinks, on the desk, and there's just a closed kind of water bottle like that. That's my own thing. That's what I think. And let me see. For lunch, there's several places around here on campus, and Hannah will distribute a list later on so you know where to get lunch. And there's several vending machines around. There'll be short breaks throughout the day. Bathrooms. Men's is on this side. The women's is right above the men's, but on the next level. More walking. Any questions? Okay, if not, I'm going to hand this over to Dr. Osgood. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, Dr. Wong, and it's really a great pleasure, privilege, and honor to be here with you for this week, where I'm going to be giving you a first introduction and glimpse of the world of applying agent-based modeling to health. I've been doing agent-based modeling now for a span of close to 25 years. And it's gone through many different generations of software, methodologies, etc. I'm really happy to be able to speak to you at a time where it's becoming broadly accessible to people from all different backgrounds because of the advances in the accessibility of the software. And I hope that while there'll be a steep learning curve in this boot camp for many of you, you'll have an opportunity to see how people from a wide variety of backgrounds can routinely interact with, modify, and contribute to building up agent-based models that address many of our pressing health issues. So I wanted to make a few introductory remarks following those the logistic items that were importantly mentioned by Dr. Wong. We have attempted for this boot camp to provide a wide variety of materials available to you. One of the most important of those is a schedule. And I believe, and maybe Dr. Wong or Hannah could confirm this, that you folks would have been sent a link to a Dropbox folder, which will provide you access to a wide variety of materials, including the schedule. And my TA Winchell back there has kindly put up a link here to the Dropbox folder. This is for those of you who don't have it handy. If you type this in, it looks a little bit curious, but it's a very brief internet address, URL, which will get you access to the Dropbox from whatever machine you're on. So I'd like to encourage you to do that. Be aware that Dropbox will be updated all throughout the week. We're going to be putting more and more lecture slides on there. We're going to be putting more example models. We're going to be putting more materials that come out of discussions, etc. So it's not a one-time thing, and you might want to check back with it. Okay. As I said, one of the most important items within that Dropbox is a schedule. This is as its title suggests, a preliminary schedule. And I'm going to try to make sure that it's responsive to your needs and adapted accordingly throughout the week. We're going to be getting off the ground in just a few minutes here with the first exercise. We're going to be like in a theme that continues throughout the week. You're going to be getting your hands on actually modifying a model, running it, and learning a little bit about what these models contain, and a little bit about the sort of insights that they can offer. So keep track of the schedule. The two will be evolving. Broadly, the schedule contains a variety of session types. Those are sort of mentioned up here. We have some lecture periods, which are coded in different levels of kind of accessibility. Some will be stretching people's envelopes a bit more than others. The green ones are more basic material. And not surprisingly, the first day is a lot of that, because we're trying to deal with some fundamentals. There is material of more advanced forms. Some of that material is provided in parallel sessions where some people may want to work on exercises towards their projects or do project work. So bear in mind that it's not assumed that you'll all want to learn about Java, but the resources are there if you do, and other people can be working on exercises here in the room or as available on laptops elsewhere. So be aware there's some parallel sessions. Much of the schedule, however, is set aside for facilitated project work. That will be facilitated by myself and by my two TAs back there, and we're hoping to provide you an opportunity through this week to really go beyond just exposure to this material on canned examples, drawn as they are from all across health, but instead to have the opportunity to try applying it to areas of direct interest to you. And I'm a firm believer in the idea that this is much easier to do if you're surrounded by people who are very experienced in this sort of modeling, like myself and my TAs. So rather than giving you a really full week, chock-a-block full of tools, techniques, and tips, and then sending you back to your offices to sit in front of that computer wondering what to do first to apply it to your problems, we want to get you applying it to your problems throughout the week. And that will start this afternoon. So we're going to be asking people to try to form groups together who can try to carve off problems of interest to you, and we're going to try to facilitate that. Okay? So much of our job as TAs and instructors is going to be facilitating these broader sessions where you're going to be doing project work, and we're going to be going around and trying to nudge you along, help you work through problems that you're having with software, problems that you're having conceptualizing things, such that at the end of the week, you actually have something to go back to your office with something that's already started, something that you're confident marks a direction that might be worth exploring further. So that's a very important type of session. And finally, there's some sessions which most sessions are highly hands-on. There are some which are more lecture-based. They involve less hands-on work. They're more conceptual. And those include some sessions for this morning. I was asked to present some on motivations for system science methods more broadly and age-based modeling in particular. And that's going to be more conceptual. It's going to involve less hands-on stuff for sure. And then similarly on the final day, there's going to be best practices, discussions, etc. And those two aren't going to require you to be on your keyboard so much as to listening. But for the vast majority of sessions where I'm going to be up here lecturing, we'll be going through examples. You'll be clicking on things. You'll be opening things up. And that Dropbox will be a good resource to turn to for that, because I'm trying to make it so all the examples I build and lecture, you have copies of the final result, so that if you have any trouble, and it's trouble the TAs can't help you with during the lecture, you can always open up the final version of the model and see what you were missing. Okay? So, yes, Kurt.
For those of us that haven't heard yet, the password for the computers on the left, you want to use Dropbox.
Thank you.
You can use your laptop as well, and then you can find the analogic activation key in that folder that was put.
The Dropbox folder. So yeah, this is an important thing. We thank you, Kurt. So this is the Dropbox folder here, and there's this thing called AnyLogic Trial Key Bootcamp. So there's information on there on how you can enter a key to activate AnyLogic on your laptops, on home machines, or where needed on these computers. And Kurt, did you say on some of these computers at least you had to enter the key? Is that right?
AnyLogic is installed, but the key is not.
Okay.
You have to put the key in.
Okay. And the TAs can help with that.
Yeah, if you have questions.
Yeah. So maybe I'll ask right now. Is there anyone here who would like the TA's help in installing AnyLogic and getting that key in there for a laptop?
I have a question.
Yeah,
Is
sure.
the key for the professional version?
I'm sorry?
Is the key for the professional version?
Yes, that was my recollection. Yes, it's professional. Yep. And the key is good, in case anyone's wondering, I think the key is good through the beginning of November or something like that. So it should afford you a chance to explore things for a couple months time. Okay. Great question. Any others right now about that? Okay. So just continuing on, we've introduced the TAs. TAs have quite a lot of experience applying agent-based modeling in general and AnyLogic in particular to a variety of health issues. So they're key resources, and they may give some guest lectures as part of this part of the week. We're going to try to make the sessions highly adapted to your needs, and so if you're interested in particular areas of application or interested in particular topics, please bring them up. And the chance is pretty good I may have materials that speak to that. Just let me know. Okay. So we're going to try to adjust around the schedule for that. Okay. I'm wearing obviously this mic, and we're going to have to tune the audio a little bit because it's hissing like a snake sometimes over here. But we'll be adjusting the audio. One of the reasons I'm doing that is because all of these lectures are we're trying to record all of these lectures for those who can't make lecture, who are stuck in traffic, who get called away for that important phone call. I'm going to try to provide recordings of all these lectures available to you on a playlist that I maintain at YouTube by the next day. Okay, and that's going to require some elves to work at night to make that happen. But I've provided on my YouTube page, there's actually something called UCLA Bootcamp ABM Bootcamp 2014 playlist, and I'll be adding videos to that. Okay. Those will be screencasts of my computer, so you'll see where I'm clicking and all that sort of stuff. If anyone has an urgent need to see that the same day, come up and tell me, because I could probably provide you with the file and you could watch it on your computer or one of these machines here. Okay. One or two other small things on this this Dropbox here, whose link is provided over here. We have a variety of step-by-step tutorials that involve very methodical exploration of using AnyLogic to accomplish building up models of various sorts. Many of these are similar to, but a little bit different than what I'm going to be doing in lecture, so you may find them really helpful to build a lot of the basic skills. Charles Armstrong once said that when he was asked how he became Mr. Universe, he said, I did it by exercising 64-pound weakling muscles. And so it is with this. Everyone starts, totally new to this. And you may find these exercises helpful for building up the basic skills. So they're filled, chock-a-block full of pictures showing you where to click, what to do. And they're just freshly adapted to AnyLogic 7. We've just gone through the transition. So you'll see many of the exercises that we'll be going through. You'll see very similar material covered in these step-by-step tutorials here, and you'll find them under the exercises folder on the ABM training website. Excuse me, on the Bootcamp Dropbox folder. Okay. I'm also going to be putting lecture slides as I deliver them here. This is causing a little bit of trouble, so I'm going to help much. I'll tune that a little bit more in a minute. And finally, there's example models. Some of these are final models that I'll be building during the day today, and I'm going to be placing more on there in coming days. Others are generic example models that are, we have dozens of models from all different areas of health, some veterinary science, chronic wasting disease there, covering things, incoming crowding, spread of zoonoses, spread of H1N1 flu, diabetes, etc. So you may find those useful. Many of those are on my website, but this includes many that are not on the website for circulation to you folks only. Okay? So please be aware that there's a big resource there of models that you can gain access to, and that may also illustrate ways of doing things in AnyLogic. There's literally, I don't know, maybe 40 of them drawn from all different areas of health that we've built up in my group. Okay? Okay. So that's all the orientation comments I want to give. Any questions before we dive in to your first hands-on encounter with age-based modeling and AnyLogic? Any questions?
I don't have a question, but I have to confess. As I was sitting here, and I'm sorry, I forgot to thank the most important people, Andrew, Hannah, Mona, Taba, who did all the groundwork. I think my neurons kind of skipped, and I'm sitting here horrified and very embarrassed, so I apologize.
Yep.
So thank you all so much, because without your support, we couldn't have gotten this thing together.
And I wanted to provide my most sincere thanks to the organizers as well for making making this possible and laying the groundwork for us to get here from north of the border. So thanks very much. Great. So I think then if there's no further questions, we'll start our first little bit. If anyone is having trouble with getting AnyLogic up on this computer or on your laptop, raise your hand for the TAs at any point. And secondly, you might think about if you're not getting service quick enough for this exercise, which is going to get you learning it for the first time. You might think about pulling up with someone next to you who does have it up. Okay. Great. So let's go over then to the first exercise. I'll just close some of the things which I've opened up. And this is lecture 1, initial glimpse of an example of AnyLogic and this property of emergence. We're going to talk about modifying an existing model. And I think I'll